All right. Hello, my name is Esteban Bribiesca, and I'm here to present to you my capstone project, right, for computational thinking. And what I've decided to do with this code and with this project has been to create an inventory tracker for a pizza restaurant in terms of their ingredients that they're managing. Well, I've always loved little games like Papa's Pizzeria and stuff like that, where, of course, they're fast-paced games in which you have to manage everything in the restaurant. And I thought, well, how can I make my coding experience something like this, right? Or how can I help a restaurant of this nature with my coding abilities? And so I decided to create this inventory tracker. The code in itself is kind of repetitive. It is pretty simple as well, but I found it quite satisfying to create, right? So what we've basically been doing in the main function, which is the main function, is firstly, we create an items list, right? So every restaurant manages a certain list of ingredients, right? Of course, every now and then they might add new stuff and new promotions and ingredients, but right now we're just keeping it standard, right? So of course you want to have the base ingredients: dough, tomato, sauce, cheese, the classic pizza, the classic pizza, pepperoni pizza, the classic Hawaiian pizza, and then I added some other options for more variety. If you want to have like a deli meat pizza, you can have pepperoni and sausage and ham, right? And just little things like this that can add to the different combinations of the pizzas. And then we have inventory. So inventory, will happen with it is it's a list that defines how many portions of each ingredient you have. And it's very simple. I'll run you through it in a little bit. The first thing that the main function actually does in terms of calling functions is inventory start function. And what this function executes is actually very simple. First of all, it takes the list of items and the inventory list as parameters, right? Then you have, well, we set a variable x is equal to 0 in order to begin a for loop, right? In which the x has to be in range from 0, which is its start value, to the length of the items list. Why is this? Because we want to create an inventory list that matches the items list. And what do I mean by this? Basically, we need to create a variable, right, that stores a value for portions of items of x, right? In terms of what the f string is doing here is in between the curly brackets, it's calling, right, the item or element in the items list, right, with the x index. So if you want to assign, let's say it starts with dough, right? The items list starts with dough. If I want to add portions of dough, since it starts at 0, items index 0 would be dough, right? So it would be portions of dough, then portions of tomato paste, and then it would go so on, right? Until we have two matching and corresponding lists. But how do we actually add the values? That is by putting inventory, which is the list we want to add to, dot append or dot append. And then we add the value for the item number, or what the variable that we described before, right? And this cycle repeats once every time, right? In intervals of 1. So it will be 0, then 1, then 2, and then 3. And so you can get different values stored in the same variable, right? Amongst the same list. And what it returns is like the refined or the renewed inventory list. Next, what happens in the main function? After this, we come into a different part of the main function, which I like a lot, which is our while loop. What does this while loop do? Well, as a person who's managing the orders of the pizza place, you want to firstly see if you're going to place an order, right? Because if it's the end of your day, you're not going to place another order. So in here, we define it as the variable cont or continue, right? And then it says, would you like to place an order? If I place yes, it will now lead me, right, into this new set of options. Here I use cont.upper because I wanted to make it case sensitive so that the user could put y or no in basically different different upper and lower cases and still make it work. Now, In the case that we do have, an order that's wanting to be placed, we need to know how many orders are going to, how many pizzas are going to go along with that order, right? And so that's when we define the amount of pizzas variable, which is an integer input, because you don't order partial pizzas at a pizza place, right? Of how many pizzas you would like to order. And well, yeah, it would basically define the amount of pizzas successfully registered for an order. Then we run the most important part of this code. It calls the pizza function. Now, I know this is very broad, and you're saying you're running a pizza code and one of your functions is called pizza. Well, yeah, because that's what it does. It's literally that simple. This function has 4 different objectives, right? And it is, firstly, to make an order, right, with any desired amount of pizzas, which is what I've been describing before. Then B, something next B, subtract the needed portions, right, of the in the inventory list of each ingredient required for the pizza that you want to order, right? So if I'm ordering Hawaiian pizza, I want the ingredients that are gonna like decrease in inventory to be, well, the dough, the tomato paste, the cheese, the ham, and the pineapple, right? So I want like to index each one of the different ingredients in order to, well, basically decrease them by a portion for each pizza ordered. Then finally, identify when one of the ingredients needed to make a certain type of pizza has run out. I can't make a pepperoni pizza if I have no pepperoni, right? So we need to have the code identify that so we don't have unhappy customers, right? So proceeding, and the final point is, once it identifies that one of the ingredients of a certain type has run out, right? It needs to say that it can't be ordered, right? The count of the, well, you can't like subtract or basically signify that a pizza has been ordered when one hasn't, right? So what we mean by that is that it will prohibit the user from like registering the wanted pizza, and it would offer him the option to select another one, right? And now we get into the actual functioning of well, forget the redundancy, it's a function. So we have the count variable. What do I mean by a count variable? A count variable is a variable that will only increase when there are enough ingredients for the pizza to be registered, right? And to be passed into the kitchen. So we have a while loop here that describes while count is smaller than or equal to the amount of pizzas plus 1, right? Then the whole code runs. Once count is equal to the amount of pizzas, we don't need to order more pizzas, right? Because a person wanted 5 pizzas. You're not gonna like tell them, okay, what do you want your 6th pizza to be, right? So that's why if count is equal to amount of pizzas, it breaks the code. Then finally, if one of the base ingredients to make all pizzas is out or has run out, you cannot, well, yeah, you cannot create any pizza. So it breaks the entire loop again, right? And it would basically end the code. Now, what we want to do is define for each pizza type which ingredients we want to reduce inventory in the case that those ingredients are available, right? So it basically subtracts 1 to the amount of portions and increases the count by 1, which is what I mentioned before, along with the message, your X pizza has been ordered, right? And then in another case, it prints this pizza cannot be ordered because one or more of the ingredients aren't available. Try with another pizza. And what this means is the cycle will run again once more, right? Without changing the count number. So it really doesn't, like, you can enter the same pizza that you cannot make like 1,000 times, and it would tell you like still pick pizza number X, which is what you were in before selecting the wrong pizza, right? Then this logic continues along all of them, and you can see that we know which elements to subtract by indexing the ingredients in, or the element in, the inventory list. And this applies for every single type of pizza, right? And I couldn't make them into 4 loops because each pizza has like different elements that are out of order. So I cannot make them necessarily sequential. And then finally, we get to if someone, right, Oh yeah. Once an order has been made and we have run the pizza function, right? We need to print the updated inventory. Like after your order of 5 pizzas, now how many portions of dough do you have? How many portions of tomato? So that the person can keep track and that there's a log that in the case of it being needed, the manager can go check it, right? And basically, yeah. There are so many possibilities for this code. You can create a machine learning algorithm that can basically tell you over a year, right? With depending on how much depending on the frequency with which people order certain pizzas, how many portions of each do you need per day, right? And things like that. It has a lot of potential. So now it says else. So if someone does not want to place an order, essentially the code just breaks. And then we have reached the end of the code. So now I will try running it and well, demonstrating it essentially, right? So we want to have portions of dough, right? And I'm in 2 computers at the same time. So I'm sorry if the video looks kind of weird, right? So we want to have, let's say we want to have 3 portions of dough, right? 3. And now portions of tomato sauce, we also want to have 3 portions of cheese, 3. We want to have everything with 3 portions, right? Let's just make it simple. Now, do you want to place an order? Of course you want to place an order, right? So I will place yes. And we will enter how many pizzas would you like to order, right? It's a very sequential code. Let's order, well, we can't order more than 3 pizzas, but we'll try to order more than 3 pizzas so that you can see what happens when the base ingredients are run out, right? So we have 4 pizzas, right? What will pizza type number 0 be? This is like a security check, right? Just to make sure that the employee can put any number of pizza before actually starting the code, right? Because you can have that pizza number 0. So you have 1, and now finally, it gives you basically the display of the menu. And we want to make, let's say we want to make 1 pepperoni pizza, right? 1 Hawaiian pizza, which is number 2. And we want another Hawaiian pizza. And then it will tell me, right? Basically the amount of things that we have. Take into account that we said we wanted 4 pizzas. But since the dough reached 0, the tomato sauce and the cheese reached 0, the code automatically ended. And it returns to, would you like to place an order? And now we want, since we can't make any more pizzas, we just say no, right? We just say here, we put no. Oh, why doesn't it run? I have no idea why it isn't running. There we go. And it says, thank you for the order and inventory for today. See you tomorrow. So then the person will just run the code again, and they would get it done. Yep, that's basically it. That's the code. Yep.